Hello and a very good morning. I'm Akshita Nandagopal, and as always you're joining us live here on India Today's social media handles for a roundup of all the top stories we're tracking this Wednesday. Let me start off with the top story, the top headline, that is of a bird flu outbreak in India. We're battling the coronavirus pandemic, and unfortunately more worrying news that of bird flu spreading in India. Several states have issued advisories. They're on high alert after thousands of birds were found dead, and these are migratory birds. It started in Himachal Pradesh in the very famous Bonga Dam sanctuary, and then there were similar reports that emerged in Rajasthan of dead crows. Kerala also in two districts, Kottayam as well as Alappuzha, there have been reports of dead birds. All of the samples that have been tested so far indicate that the birds died of bird flu or avian influenza. The reason this is worrying, and we have seen outbreaks of bird flu in the past as well, right now the good news is that it hasn't reached any humans. None of the humans have contracted bird flu yet, but it is highly contagious. If it reaches even one person, then the spread becomes very fast, which is why the administration is ensuring that doesn't happen. Several advisories have been put out to cull birds. Mass culling of birds is happening within a 1 kilometer radius of any incident of dead birds being reported. All the tests are, all the samples really are being tested vigorously at this point to ensure that any case of bird flu is immediately identified. Also, there are some states which have decided to put out advisories on the consumption of poultry meat, that is chicken, ducks as well as eggs. They've advised against it. As far as scientists go and what they have to say about the consumption of poultry during bird flu, they say that there's no need to completely ban it, but you have to ensure that you cook your meat completely before consuming it. Otherwise it can be dangerous. It will lead to people contracting bird flu. The good news is that so far it hasn't reached humans, but there is an alert in about 8 states right now. Himachal Pradesh, Rajasthan, you've got Uttar Pradesh, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh, among a few states which have already announced an alert and issued several advisories against bird flu. While we get to those updates, let me also focus on the pandemic, coronavirus pandemic that we're all fighting right now. We've got the great news of 2 vaccines coming out. Better news is that perhaps by next week we'll see the rollout happening. What the Union Health Ministry so far seems to indicate is that 10 days from the announcement of the vaccine being given emergency use, which was on Sunday, they will be ready to roll out the vaccine. So that makes the date January 13th, which falls next week. So by January 13th, we could perhaps have the vaccine being rolled out, of course, for healthcare workers as well as frontline workers first, and then it will reach the citizens also slowly. But this is going to be a huge step because it will also essentially test how robust our distribution plan is. The government has expressed full confidence because their dry runs, which they've been doing over the last many days, has been very, very successful. So they're hoping that that will translate into a very smooth distribution of the vaccine. The government, however, is yet to confirm whether January 13th is the date. They are in talks with the Drug Controller General of India, and between the two of them, they're going to decide the date when the vaccine will be rolled out for healthcare workers. They will be sending it to primary healthcare centers to ensure that it spreads across the country. Every district healthcare workers have access to a vaccine. They also have the database ready of who needs to get the vaccine. Those are the updates with regards to the coronavirus vaccine and the pandemic. Let me now switch over to the cold wave that's hit North India. You've got very, very cold conditions in hilly regions of North India. In Jammu and Kashmir, the situation is pretty grave, and while you see pictures that really makes the valley look so beautiful amid the snowfall, locals are struggling because they've got inclement weather there. Electricity supply has been cut off, any sort of transport not possible, roads completely blocked off because of the snowfall. The airport has been shut down in Srinagar. Flight operations have been suspended for the last many days. There's been heavy snowfall for the last 3 days, and the Met Department has said that it could continue. It's not just in Jammu and Kashmir. In places like Himachal, many people went there to celebrate their new year. They've been stranded there because of the heavy snowfall. All routes, all highways have been closed down, and that also is a problem. Expect this to continue. The Met Department has said that this cold wave will continue. Temperatures will continue to dip. As far as the national capital goes, where I am, it's been a very, very rainy day and really unprecedented what we're seeing in the national capital. Then in January, for the last 3 days, there's been heavy rains Some parts also hailstorm has been reported. Tomorrow also the Met Department has said that there could be a bit of rainfall, and what that's led to is some respite from the cold because temperatures have slightly gone up in the national capital. Important to also highlight while we talk about the heavy rains, the thunderstorms in the national capital, the plight of our farmers who are protesting at Delhi's borders. They're protesting at Singhu, at Ghazipur, at Tikri borders, to name a few. And for them, they continue to brave it out amid this kind of inclement weather. During the cold wave, they made it very clear they're not going to budge. They braved the cold. Now in the rain also, they're continuing to sit at the border and protest. Over a month now, about 43 days that farmers have been protesting, and they're saying that while, if you go to the Singhu border, and the reporters out there, our reporters have been getting us ground reports showing how the entire area has been drenched, how the tents have been soaked in which the farmers stay, and yet they're very clear that they're not going to budge. Important also to highlight here that tomorrow they're going to be holding a tractor rally in the national capital, essentially to pile pressure on the government ahead of the next round of talks, which is slated to happen the day after, on January 8th. So before that, they'll be holding a tractor rally where hundreds of farmers are expected to try and block some of the major highways in the national capital. So if you're someone who really who commutes from another city into Delhi, expect massive traffic snarls, because the Delhi police have said that they're not giving permission for this protest. So they're going to try and regulate this protest, try to regulate this rally, and ensure that the farmers don't manage to enter the national capital. So that is the latest update on the farmers' protest, and they've been really very clear that they're not going to budge on their demand for repealing of the 3 farm laws. Another story that we're tracking this morning is on the Bollywood drug probe case. You've got the Narcotics Control Bureau, which has been investigating this case. We've been getting you constant updates about how actor Arjun Rampal is under the scanner. Today, his sister is also going to appear before the NCB, and her name is Arjun Rampal. And the reason she's been roped in right now by the NCB is because Arjun Rampal, during his interrogation, had named her. The prescription that is under the scanner right now, Rampal claimed it was for his sister Komal, not for him. Remember that this prescription was backdated. It wasn't a date that was given right now. It was a previous date a prescription was given, and the NCB believes that this was an attempt by the Bollywood actor to try and take away any suspicion. But the NCB got hold of the doctor, a Delhi-based doctor who'd given that prescription, who confirmed that this was a fake prescription, essentially that it was backdated. So we'll have to see what is the outcome of the interrogation of Arjun Rampal's sister, because there's been a lot of speculation that Arjun Rampal, if the proof and evidence against him mounts, could even be arrested in this particular case. He's of course rubbished the allegations time and again, making it very clear that all of it is false, that this prescription is for medical reasons, and he says that he has a valid prescription from a doctor, so there's no reason for any suspicion or any of these allegations to hold against him. So that is the story we'll be tracking through the day. Let me also get you a quick update from Pollachi in Tamil Nadu. There was a story that came in back in 2019. Not sure if many of you remember, but let me just give you a bit of background here. This was a story in 2019 of a massive extortion racket that was underway. It's a sexual assault case where about 50 to 200 girls were victimized. They were in fact befriended on social media, sexually assaulted, videographed, and then blackmailed with those videos. It came to light when one of the victims spoke out, approached the police, and upon investigation it was found to be a huge ring where several of the accused had in fact lured women and successfully managed to extort money from them, threatening to release their videos after sexually assaulting them. 5 main accused were immediately taken into custody. Now more arrests have happened by the Central Bureau of Investigation, which has been probing this case. Now, of the 3 who've been arrested, one of them is an AIADMK member, or rather was, because he's been expelled now by the party, but this has led to a huge political war. The DMK has said that this proves essentially that the AIADMK was trying to cover up the investigation, because it's not the first time that the party's name has been involved or the party members have been involved in this particular case. The reason this has also been very sensational is because there is an allegation that many of the top rung political leaders are also involved in this ring, in this particular case. That's something that's yet to be proven. But with this link emerging, there's no doubt that there are a lot of problems that the AIADMK has to address, simply because elections are also round the corner in Tamil Nadu. So that's a roundup of all the top stories that we're tracking this Wednesday. Keep watching us here in India Today. We promise to get you all the latest news and updates. For the moment, thank you for tuning in.